Training the pelvic floor for birth is a non-negotiable, absolute essential in being able to be ready for delivery so you aren't susceptible to having a C-section and or for pushing for 3 to 4 hours. The more dynamic and connected you can get your pelvic floor, the more control you can get over your pelvic floor, the easier your baby is going to be able to come through the pelvic floor and you can have a less complicated vaginal delivery. So you need to tune into this video, the entirety of it, because I am going to share some amazing secrets from the Body Motion Birth Prep Protocol that is absolutely essential in preparing your body for the delivery of your dreams. Okay, let's talk about the pelvis. So during pregnancy, you have relaxin and progesterone in your body. That creates a little instability in these joints, meaning you have more flexibility in the joints. When you have more flexibility from the hormones, what happens is that the pelvic floor is going to tighten to try and provide stability for those joints. The glutes are also going to tighten and try and squeeze to create stability for those joints. What can go wrong with that is that as you get closer to delivery, the tighter your pelvis is on the outside and the inside, the harder it is going to be for these joints to open, for baby to get through the birth canal. So we have to start prepping our pelvis pretty early on in order to start training these muscles to open, to relax. And we need the glutes to do that, and we need the pelvic floor to do that. And then the better that your brain can get connected to the pelvic floor, the easier you're going to be able to control your pelvic floor and the relaxation of your pelvic floor during the birthing process. Now, during labor, the uterus is responsible for pushing baby out. The minute you start to get contractions, the uterus is working to open up the cervix, which is super exciting, super fun, but also if your body isn't prepped and everything is tight, your uterus is going to be working really hard and might not be able to get to do all the work on its own. And so therefore you get to pushing and you're pushing for hours and hours and hours because your muscles simply just cannot open. We also see this pattern in the very fit athletes. So people who grew up athletes and maybe they were soccer players, gymnasts, dancers, and whatever it is, they have a lot of tightness in their pelvic floors just from their athletic backgrounds and history. And so they tend to have a harder time with childbirth and just getting baby through birth canal. So we want to make sure that we get the range of motion in the vaginal canal, in the pelvic floor, in order for baby to be able to get just pushed out by the uterus. So we're not having to work so hard during the pushing process to get the baby out and or not get the baby out and end up with having a C-section or an emergency C-section. And so we want to do everything possible to prep the pelvic floor for the birthing experience. I'm going to go through 3 techniques right now of exactly what you should be doing to start gaining control of your pelvic floor. These are going to seem simple. They might seem boring, but the minute that you can start connecting here and really focusing on this, you are going to be able to have a better birthing experience. The very last thing I'm going to tell you is the magic behind everyone who wants to have a vaginal birth without tearing and how they get that. But that is not for everybody. Not everybody's ready to hear that, but I will save that for the very end. But the 3 tips we're going to go through right now. Number 1 is breathing. Yes, silly to talk about breathing, but the diaphragm underneath the rib cage, it gets longer during the pregnancy because our ribs flare in order to make room for the baby in the uterus. And so when the diaphragm gets longer, it gets a little weaker. So we have to work on keeping that diaphragm strong during the entirety of the pregnancy. How do we do that? We do that through breathing. And this type of breath is how we are going to breathe in order to get baby out and get baby out through a relaxed and softened pelvic floor and not through a cemented pelvic floor. So what we're going to do is put a hand on the belly and a hand on the chest. You are going to take a nice deep breath into the belly. Exhale and let it go. That is a diaphragmatic breath. When you inhale, I want you to imagine the pelvic floor opening, the vagina opening, the anus opening. When you exhale, you get some natural recoil. And you want to start to feel that range of motion in your body. If that feels really challenging for you, then go home and see if you can feel that. Put a finger right inside the vaginal canal. Can you feel that opening happening for you? If not, you absolutely need to come see us here at Body Motion and go through our birth prep protocols, and we will get you connected and get you more range of motion of your pelvic floor so you can get baby out more effectively during your labor. The third thing we want to do is we want to start to open up the hips. So we want to open up the glutes. And one of my favorite ways to do that is just through a seated hip stretch, a seated piriformis stretch. So what that can look like is you have a seat here and you cross a leg and you sit up nice and tall, and you're not slouching into this. You keep your nice tall posture, and you should feel a nice deep stretch into the hip. You can hold this for 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And this is what it looks like from the side. 60 second to 2 minute hold, just breathing into opening the hip. You can do this twice a day on each side. And that's gonna help start to open up the outside of the pelvis. Now, the third thing and the final thing you're gonna do is you're gonna start to breathe your poop out every time you have a bowel movement. If you do this, then you are going to be able to breathe your baby out as easily as you do your poop out. And so we're going to go through how to have this good bowel movement without straining. And if you practice this every bowel movement up until you deliver, you'll have practiced delivering your baby. And yes, they come through different holes, right? So the poop is going to come through the anus, the vagina is where the baby's going to come out of, but they're controlled by the same muscles. And sometimes we have better control over one area versus the other. And so you have to find out where you have the best control. So let's go into how to have a good bowel movement, and we will talk about how this is so similar to pushing baby out. So when you go to have a bowel movement, when you get an urge, you always want to listen to that urge, whether it's, an urge in an inconvenient place, or if you're in the comfort of your home. Never go longer than 15 minutes without listening to that urge. So once you get the urge, then you are going to sit on the toilet. If it's comfortable for your body to spread your legs apart and lean forward so belly is kind of hanging there, then that is great. If this is not comfortable for your body, you're not going to go there. If it's not comfortable for your body, your pelvic floor is going to tighten. We don't want to be pooping and or pushing baby out against a tightened pelvic floor. So if it's not comfortable in that way, then just find whatever position, whether that's reclined a little bit or upright, that your body is most comfortable. And then once you find that position, you're going to do 3 of those belly breaths that we did early on. So you'll take 3 breaths into the belly and exhale. At the top of the 3rd inhale, you're going to bear down with it fully inflated, like you're trying to fart, but you don't want anyone to see you fart. It is such a simple little bear down. And that is how you are gonna initiate all your poops from here on out. And honestly, this is how you are going to be pushing when it comes to delivery as well. You initiate the push at the top of the inhale. And so deep breath into belly, utilizing your diaphragm. The diaphragm on every inhale is pushing down on the top of the uterus. So this is a really effective way to help make the contractions more effective for your body. It'll also help manage the pain because you're stimulating the vagus nerve. And if you can breathe like that during your labor, that's going to help you. But to practice that, if you breathe the poop out, and you should do this postpartum too, always start to breathe your poop out. This will help prevent straining and pushing, which over time can really take a toll on our organs and kind of make us more susceptible to what's called pelvic organ prolapse. So you can check out our other videos for that as well. But right now, the biggest focus is breathing your poop out in order to help prepare for childbirth can be very effective. Now, what I'm going to tell you here is the most important part of this video, and that is the fact that most people don't have enough range of motion of their pelvic floor to have injury-free childbirth. And why is that? It's a lot of things. It's our society, it's our stress levels, it's our past history, But what needs to happen is we need to get more range of motion of the pelvic floor. And that is why body motion birth prep protocols are so unique, is because when you come here, people fly here from around the world, they come here for an intensive to really help open up and get range of motion of their pelvic floor before they go into delivery. And then they can get this control in a bigger range of motion, meaning their muscles can stretch further without tearing, and then the uterus can just do its job of pushing baby through. So that is a really important factor that most people, like, yes, I can tell you how to breathe, I can tell you how to get some more hip mobility, but that is oftentimes not enough for people, and it's why people end up pushing for 3 to 4 hours and or need stitches postpartum because they've tore, or end up with a C-section because the baby just couldn't get through the shortened, tight, cement-like pelvic floor. So I hope you found this valuable. And please like and subscribe to our channel. I am so happy to have you here, and share this video with all of your pregnant friends or friends who plan to be pregnant, and come visit us in downtown Edmonds, Washington, and experience our birth prep protocols. Take care.